Welcome again, hockey fans, to This Week in Wisconsin Prep Hockey. This is your interim MC, Bill Berg. MJ is somewhere in the Shire without cell reception today, so we'll hope to hear from him again next week. With me is Trasher, Dell, and Bill Berg Jr. And also with us tonight, we have a guest, the head coach of the Madison Metro Lynx, Mike McKersie.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you having me on tonight.
All right, Curse, hey, you kind of started the season as kind of an unknown quantity on the girls' side, and all of a sudden I've been hearing rumblings about how Metro Lynx is going to be the best team in the state, and watch out for these guys. Well, you're 4-0 now, so tell me a little bit about your start.
Well, I think that's getting a little ahead of us here. I appreciate the compliments, but yeah, we are only 4 games into the season. We picked up a large group of underclassmen this year, and had a couple other girls that decided to come over and play with the Metro Lynx from the Capitals organization. So it kind of changed the makeup of our team early on. But there were a lot of girls that really didn't have much exposure to high school hockey. You know, a lot of this young talent are in the freshman and sophomore classes. So we really didn't know how it was going to take through the first part of the season here, but they have adjusted fairly quickly. They're full of energy, and our seniors have really stepped up to help them get acclimated to the high school, competitiveness level.
Okay, well, a couple names that we've heard of is Sydney Raths. I'm not sure how to pronounce her name, but she's a monster this year for you guys. She's got 14 points in 3 games. I mean, that's a hell of a deal. Rachel Merwald is up there too. You got a Boyce. We've never heard of that name before in the Madison hockey. Hannah Colpine. I mean, you got some really good players, and then there's this girl named Cameron McKersie that plays in goal along with Addie Armstrong, and you got a pretty solid team, actually.
Yeah, we picked up what was probably our strength this year is our depth. We've got several forwards up front. You know, you mentioned several of them. We've got one line of Sydney Raft with Abby Elborn and Kaya Bice. And they started out gangbusters in the first game. And then the next game was Hannah Colpine and Rachel Meerwald and Mia Getsky, who kind of broke out and put some goals and some assists on the board. But, we've got this other quiet line that's really been working hard and paying huge dividends for us with Maddie Elborn, Ava Jambor, and Claire Wishoff. And we've got a nice supporting cast back on defense. Grace Bennell, Lauren Johnson, Allie Jacobson, Sam Olander, and our senior captain, Josie Dragoo, have really been anchoring for us and even generated offense from the defensive position this year, which we just haven't seen for a little while here. And as you said, between the nets, we've got Cameron, who's played really strong so far, and she's really being pushed by a young Addie Armstrong, who's just a real competitor.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at your roster here, and there's a couple names that I saw that did a bang-up job last year that you haven't even mentioned yet. So your depth definitely comes into play. I mean, Ava Jambor, Jenna Culp, the other Auburn girl, Maddie. I mean, you have what do you guys got? Like 5 lines going on here?
Well, we did have, like I said, last year we had 25 players on our roster. So it was kind of tight, a little tight for a JV team, but we made it work. And then this year we just had a huge influx of sophomores and freshmen, along with 3 girls that came over from the Madison Capitals. You talk about girls where, I failed to mention Jenna Culp, and unfortunately that's a slip on my part because she scored a very important goal for us at University School just the other day. She got the first goal to kind of crack it open a little bit for us because we were struggling. USM just plays really good team defense. They're very well coached, and we needed something to get us going, and she was actually the spark on that first goal for us. So It's a real pleasure to have this kind of depth this year.
Yeah, you guys are 4-0, and before Christmas you got some very competitive games. Cap City Cougars this week, Hudson and Eau Claire area next week, and then you're going off and playing in the Culver Cup. Tell me a little bit about what your thinking pattern is for like the next week or so.
Man, I'm just trying to get through tomorrow. We've got a very tough Cap City Cougar team that we got to go up against. They didn't lose a lot from last year, and they returned some names themselves, and Zephyrin Yeager, Olivia Thompson, Mackenzie Rosen. And then you get into the Amanda Bauer and Brina Benuelos, Aubrey Dupree, who's a young player who's really throwing up some points for them. So I have a tough time even looking down the road at some of those other teams right now because we got a real tough one coming up here. I tried to put together as tough a schedule as we could, and we've got the out of the preseason rankings, all 6 of those teams are on our schedule this year. So those are the ones that are going to be a real big test for us. And I guess the old saying, you got to take them one game at a time, and that's what we're trying to do is just focus on Cap City for tomorrow.
Okay, well, I am not the expert on girls hockey here. We have a fellow by the name of Del Scanlon who probably knows more about the Madison area girls hockey situation than I do. So I am going to pass it along to Del to see if he's got some other things going on than I have. Del, what do you got?
Hey, Coach. Looking at this game tomorrow night, Cap City Cougars, you guys have been battling out for the past few years, as to who's going to win the Badger Conference and, end up coming down out. This year, you guys actually are going to be in the same sectional 3, to be able to make it to state. But this game against Cap City's 1-1. They finished playing the Lightning, and that game they won, I believe, 4-3 over the Lakeshore Lightning, who it says the only common opponent you have so far this year is the Icebergs, but the Lakeshore Lightning played USM to a 1-1 tie. So does that give you a feeling as to what you're looking at to take on Cap City tomorrow night?
It gives you a little. You have to look over too. Lakeshore Lightning also have a goaltender that can steal games for them, and so when you look at the shots, I think she made 45 saves or something like that against them. So that's a girl, Cammy McCardle, that can steal games for a team. I just until we meet them tomorrow, it's hard to tell looking at scores how we're going to line up. Last year, we thought we lined up really well with them in the first game of the year. They blew our doors off. Then we had one tight one, and then unfortunately in the playoffs, they dominated us almost from start to finish. So, we've kind of tried to refocus over the summer to try and get ready for these real competitive teams in our conference and in our sectional.
Well, good luck tomorrow night, Coach. I'm sure I'll be in the rink with you later on this year. Burglar Jr., you guys got a question for him?
Well, I was just looking here, because I wasn't familiar with a lot of these names. I was looking at the Team Wisconsin rosters, and the Team Wisconsin U19, didn't seem like all that much. But then I clicked on the Team Wisconsin U16 roster, and it's practically your roster, Coach. You got a lot of girls on that Team U16 Team Wisconsin.
Yeah, and that's a lot of the young talent that came in as sophomores, and then a couple of freshmen that kind of tailed in on the back end of that, that were U14s or played for that Mavericks team in Verona last year. So those girls had an extra opportunity to play that Mavericks team last year and chose to do so. Otherwise, we would have had them as freshmen. Well, they took that year, so we get this influx as sophomores. But a lot of those girls have been playing together going all the way back to that first Coleman Cup, where they found a lot of success together, and they've been playing together now for the better part of the last 5 years, 6 years, not only in season but in spring hockey as well. So I think that's been a big benefit to me from some of those coaches that they've had coming up. Guys like Toby Kinsler, guys like John Bice, guys like Scott Mearwald. They've had great coaching coming up, and it's made for, I think, an easier transition at the high school level for these girls.
Well, I'm just wondering what kind of coach lets their kid play goalie.
A crazy one that did it himself.
You'd almost have to be.
Well, it seems to run in our family between myself, my brother, my oldest daughter, my younger daughter, and then my youngest son finally decided he wanted to score goals. So he said he wanted to be a defenseman.
Well, he's probably not going to score too many goals from there, but you know how it goes. So,
Yeah.
hey, Curse, we appreciate it. You did a heck of a job so far this year, and look forward to seeing what your team ends up doing. And we appreciate you being here. But I only got one thing to say is that you better get to your film session. Your girls are going to be kind of maybe angry if you're a little bit late with them. So
yeah, I'm already a little bit late, so we got to get in there and get ready for tomorrow's game. So.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Mike McKersie, Metro Lynx head coach. We appreciate it. You've done a heck of a job this year, and we look forward to talking to you again this year. And good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you very much, guys. Appreciate all you do for the sport of hockey in the state of Wisconsin.
Okay. Thank you very much. Back to you, Burglar.
All righty. Back to business as usual without MJ. So we have the games of the week. And we'll start off with the girls' game, the Central Wisconsin Storm versus the Wisconsin Valley Union, and Trasher was there.
Oh, yeah, I was there. Yeah, almost forgot about it. But the Central Wisconsin Storm and the Wisconsin Valley Union took on each other at the IceHawks Arena in Stevens Point on, I got to back up here, I think it was Tuesday.
It was.
It was Tuesday? Okay, it was Tuesday. And what seemed to be what we thought was going to be a pretty close game, a defensive battle, ended up being kind of a slugfest for the Storm as they scored a 6-1 victory. Storm scored twice in the first period. Lauren Winsenson and Trinity Foster both scored to make it 2-0. In the second period, Shelby Treba, a defenseman, scored for Wisconsin Valley Union early in the period, 5 minutes in, to make it 2-1. And then Maddox Federici and Kayla Pascula scored for the Storm later on in the period to make it 4-1. And then the last period was all Storm. Cassidy Oliva and Holly Wasmunt scored very late in the period, within the last 26 seconds, to make it 6-1. Olivas was on an empty net. Saves in the game, shots in the game. Let's just go there. Storm outshot the Union 44-7. Pretty much the Storm defense blanketed the Union skaters, and I mean, Pista Cowden, she's an all-state goalie, probably one of the top, arguably 2 or 3 goalies in the state on the girls' side. She had 38 saves, gave up 5 goals, but it just, Storm was just very, they were all over it, and managed to get that win. To have 7 saves. Oh man, this is terrible. Wow. So we're stuck. That's a nice hat you have there, Burglar. So basically, Union just, I mean, they they moved basically their best forward, Shelby Treba. She was a forward. They moved her back to defense because they had some issues there. And the Storm is just a very consistent team. They have a lot of depth. They don't have any huge scores like they really had in the past. Eden Gruber was out. She's out with an injury. So, I mean, they had to kind of spread the scoring a little bit. And they did. Cassidy Oliva, very good player. And they were just they just outshone the Valley Union 6-1.
Alrighty. Thank you for that concise wrap up. I tried rescuing you in the middle, but it seems I was still on mute.
I'm sorry. You know,
So,
I mean, just been partying a little bit too much today. You know, celebrating the fact that I'm going to be Santa for some grandkids this weekend. You know, it was like a big deal. So, yeah.
all right.
Sorry
On
about
the boys'
that.
side, we had Verona versus Madison West, and I believe Dell wishes he was there, but still is going to provide us with the wrap up.
Thanks, Burglar. Yeah, it was a fairly exciting game going on there at Madison West. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to make it to the game, but Madison West scored the first goal of the game in the first period, about 6 minutes into the period. Devin, and I want to say Huey, Huie, scored a goal to give the Regents a 1-0 lead, and that's how the first period came to an end. Wildcats came back in the second period and scored 3 times to take a 3-1 lead at the end of 2, with 3 different players having scored. But seems like there was a little bit of tempers that might have happened near the end of this game, as a couple players picked up 10-minute misconducts with 36 seconds remaining in the third period. But as it went, the Wildcats were able to come up with a 3-1 victory there and take a nice lead over them with the conference win there at Madison Ice Arena on Friday night.
Alrighty. Thank you, Dell. And with that, we'll move on to our players of the week, our Wyndham Garden Inn, our Madison Wyndham Garden Inn of Fitchburg, which is, of course, the official state tournament headquarters of Wisconsin Prep Hockey. Our players of the week today will be presented by Bill Berg Jr.
Saying the Madison Wyndham Garden Inn in Fitchburg is a lot like saying the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim.
It is, but that's how it's listed on their website.
Oh,
well, actually,
right.
it says Wyndham Garden Inn of Madison / Fitchburg.
Gotcha.
So I figured, for people from out of town, you know, they just think, well, I'm going to Madison, and technically they're across the highway in Fitchburg. But yeah, they lay claim to both.
Okay then. Our girls' Wyndham Garden Inn player of the week is Cassidy Oliva of the Central Wisconsin Storm. Both games this week, she had a goal and 2 assists. The first was that 6-1 win over the Wisconsin Valley Union, and then the second was a 7-4 win over Onalaska in a game that I was at earlier this week. And our boys' player of the week is Cade Janicki, I think I'm pronouncing that right, of Monroe. He had 4 goals and an assist in a 5-2 win over DeForest, and 1 goal and an assist in a 4-1 win over the Greendale Co-op.
Which schools are in that Greendale Co-op, by the way?
New Berlin, Eisenhower, Franklin, Greendale, Greenfield, New Berlin West, Oak Creek, St. Francis, Union Grove, and Waterford.
I would guess then that they're a Division I team.
Yes.
With that, even if they only have 2 kids from each school, they're Division I.
Yes, they must be.
Alrighty, congratulations to those players of the week. And that moves us on to our top 6s. Who's doing that?
I am.
Okay.
I prefer to think of them as our top 18.
Our top 18.
For the girls, number 1 is the Central Wisconsin Storm, followed by the Eau Claire Area Stars. The Madison Metro Lynx are 3rd. The Fox City Stars are 4th. The St. Croix Valley Fusion is 5th. And the Hudson Raiders are 6th. For the boys Division I, Notre Dame is first, Wausau West is second, University School of Milwaukee is third, Hudson is fourth, Verona is fifth, Nina Hortonville Menasha is sixth, and for Division II, Northland Pines is first, Fond du Lac Springs is second, Amory is third, McFarland is fourth, Superior is fifth, and Rice Lake is sixth.
So that does, as we were talking, as Trasher was tabulating up the votes, that does give us some new teams to talk about that, we normally had not spent a whole lot of time discussing in the old format with the top 10. Occasionally I think you would see Amory or Rice Lake up in there, but Amory and McFarland and Rice Lake up there and, top teams in Division II, it's going to be a different look, a different feel for things this year. And if you are still not sure about the whole Division I, Division II thing, Bill Jr. has provided, if you go to our website, which hopefully you all know where that is, and just click on Boys Varsity, the first page that shows up will give you a summary of the divisions by section, which is a whole lot easier than trying to read, what the teams are on the WIAA's website, because they have all the co-ops listed. And just click on Boys Varsity on our site, and you'll get a list of all the teams that are in Division I, all the teams that are in Division II. And if you're like me, it'll take you a while to get the hang of this thing, and maybe by February you'll have it all down pat.
Yeah, like on the nomination we got for Cade Janicki, it said that they had that 4-1 win over New Berlin, and I'm looking at that, I'm like, is New Berlin in Illinois? Because I had no idea what team New Berlin was part of, because that team has always just been Greendale to me, even though it's always been between 5 and 9 schools. So yeah, I put together a little list on the site. It should help you out a little bit.
But as Burglar was saying, it's kind of nice to see the new teams up there, that we haven't seen in top 10 because of division, this year being the Division I, Division II. And just out of curiosity, I went back to see McFarland last year. They actually had a better record than what I remembered them having. They were 16-5-1 last year during the regular season. And so, so to actually see them up there listed in the rankings this year is kind of nice to be able to see different teams like that.
Alrighty.
Yeah, and I was like, Amory, when's the last time we said Amory on the podcast? I'd say that Amory had a player of the week, but I'm probably thinking of Baldwin Woodville.
No, you're thinking of Amory. Or maybe it was Somerset. Okay, moving along. We have games of the week coming up again for this week. On the girls' side, we have Northland Pines at Black River Falls. Dell, you going to cover that one?
Yes, I am. I'll be making the trip from Reedsburg on up to Black River Falls, see the Northland Pine Eagles taking on the Black River Falls Tigers. And it should be a fairly decent game going on up there. Both teams have played about 5 games on the season. And so nice to see how it turns out and have the girls' game of the week up at Black River Falls.
And Trasher is going to get the first look at a new arena. Tell us about that, Michael.
Well, I don't know that much about it. I can tell you that it is called the Community First Champions Center, and it is in Grand Chute, which is kind of a little suburb of the Fox Valley area. It looks like it's directly west of the baseball stadium, and not too awful far from the Fox River Mall. So looking forward to heading over there and checking it out. It should be definitely a good game between USM and Nina Hortonville Menasha for our game of the week.
So I'm looking at the Nina team page right now, and apparently it's T-shirt night at the Champions Center tomorrow night. So if you're one of the first 200 fans there against University School, you can get a free T-shirt. So get there early.
I'm always there early. It's just a matter of, is it going to be big enough? Do they have like a 5X? So, I mean, we'll see. But should be fun. Should be a nice night at a new arena with two very good teams. Definitely, we'll see what happens.
Okay, and speaking of seeing what happens, it's not that far from Christmas and New Year's, and of course that means holiday tournaments abound. And what we would like is if your team is involved in a holiday tournament, please send us whatever you have for a schedule. I know most likely you only have, game number one, but if you have a schedule that includes the teams that are in it, don't assume that whoever is running the tournament is going to send us that information, because there are some thoughtless tournament directors out there who don't do that. So if your team is in a tournament, please send us the schedule as soon as possible. We like to set up a tournament directory and keep track of the brackets as they move along. So send them to, what is the best address? WIPH3.0 at gmail.com, or find some sort of link on our website, or send it to Trasher. Send it to Trasher at WisconsinPrepHockey.net, because he likes getting, something besides the normal hate mail. Right, Michael?
Yep, bring it on. We'll get her, and we'll post it as best as we can. And if you get it to us, we'll make sure that we get your tournament listed. And the more pub for you, the more pub for us. Everybody gets pub. It's all good stuff.
Anybody else have anything to add tonight? Dell says no. Bill says no. Trasher says no. I guess that'll do it for tonight. This week, this episode of This Week in Wisconsin Prep Hockey. And if you happen to see MJ out and about, remind him that we do this every Monday at 7 o'clock, and he should try to be home for that. Otherwise, keep your stick on the ice, and thank you.